Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Now before we get into today's news, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for your feedback on the setup. A lot of you really like the new presentation we have going on here, but I've heard you loud and clear and I'm with you. I want the lighting to improve too. Just know that's coming in a few weeks to a bit over a month. Just please bear with me a little bit longer. I'm right there with you. I wanted to improve too, but thank you guys so much for the feedback and the love on overall what I'm doing here. I really appreciate it. But anyway, let's talk about The Witcher's Netflix series. This was an exciting video for me to sit down and make because I've never had the chance to share my thoughts in a video on this Netflix series. I've had a chance to talk about it on the podcast, but not a dedicated video. And since there's been a strange development, I sort of wanted to offer some extended thoughts on this Netflix series. So it's really cool in the terms of a premise that The Witcher is actually coming to Netflix. It's a game series that really flew under the radar for 2 entries until 3 put it on the map. And to see all that brand recognition turn into a series on a popular streaming platform, which will in turn bring it to even grander heights, is actually quite exciting. But it seems like the ball's getting dropped in some area, and let's talk about that. So we had a leak over the weekend, which was of some Nilfgaardian armor on the set of the Witcher Netflix series. And yeah, I can't show the video, but I can show you guys a screenshot, and it does not look good. Oh boy. All right, so what we're looking at here is actually like a trash bag, like a legitimate trash bag sitting on this man's shoulder with the Nilfgaardian symbol pasted to his chest. I've saw some comments equating it to a scrotum. There were some really creative things, but point being, this looks awful.
Fuck you.
Naturally, we have to compare. Here is The Witcher 2's Nilfgaardian armor, which resembles more of a medieval plate armor. You see heavy pieces above your standard garment, but still it looks like general protection amidst warfare in the time period of The Witcher. How about The Witcher 3's Nilfgaardian soldier, which has a similar scaly look to it, kind of like what we see in the show, but it's more akin to a thick leather tightly stitched together. Whereas once again, when you look at the leaked screenshot here, it's very wrinkly, disturbingly so. And so it kind of was off-putting. When I shared this photo on Twitter, it got a decent amount of traction, and naturally the people who were defending this were, Maddie, it's based off the books, the sacred text. And look, I get it. I've never read the books, but here's what I'm gonna say, okay? It's kind of a lot like with Sonic, where a lot of people were like, oh, the artist's creative vision. Sometimes the creative vision sucks. And that's just it. And we need to be critical and point that out. Yes, it is based off the books, but it's just aesthetically unappealing. It's ugly. It doesn't look like it protects you from shit. And once again, I need to emphasize the trash bag look. It legitimately looks like one. That's not me being a douche. It looks like a trash bag. So even if it is based off the books, I don't think A, it was described this way, and B, I don't think they nailed it whatsoever. It doesn't look good. And I know I'm not in the minority because I was looking at the ratings for the video, I was reading the comments, and it's not pretty. People were pretty upset with what they're doing here, and a lot of them were those who had read the book. Now, the optimist in me says that it's possible that during the editing phase of this show, because right now they're doing filming, when they start editing the episodes, they're gonna put some CGI on the armor and round it all up. I don't know what the point of that would be, why they couldn't just have the armor on set. Maybe it's a flexibility thing, it's a movement thing. It allows them to do certain things on set that they couldn't if they had legitimate armor on them. Maybe it's something with microphones, picking up some type of clinking or armor rubbing together. I don't know what happens on set. I've never filmed a show or a movie outside of just sitting here in my bedroom and stupid skits outside. Huh. Speaking of stupid skits.
Bloody Witcher, I'll fucking kill you, mate. You wanna have a go?
Point being though, is that's what the optimist in me says, is like, okay, it's very obvious this doesn't look good, but we just had a great example in Sonic where something started off and did not look good at all, and then it wasn't until a ton of outcry that there was change made. Now, I don't think this is so bad that there needs to be a world of outcry where there needs to be change demanded. I could really live with it, but I just feel that there could be more justice done to a series like The Witcher. And I almost feel like with all the hell that was raised for Sonic, people have just used up all their energy on trying to get that changed, that when they saw The Witcher, they're like, ugh, here's your free pass. Go ahead, do what you want. We'll make fun of you later. Screw off for now. And I just always feel like The Witcher, as much as I enjoy the series and I love CD Projekt Red's work, it's like Free Pass City for them. They're literally the Nintendo of RPGs. I think this is a situation where there should be a little more attention paid to, hey, they're kind of screwing up here. I mean, some people were a little milquetoast on the Henry Cavill look for The Witcher. I didn't think it was too bad because it's supposed to be a younger Witcher, but sort of reminded me of Legolas in a way too, except he had silver hair. Regardless though, I never thought the show would really be good, but I'm excited for it strictly because of my channel, because I'm like, hey, I'll actually get to review a TV series. I've never had a chance to do something like that and have discussions with my audience about shows or a movie. You know, I've done the brief hot takes on movies, but outside of that, nothing quite like that. Part of the reason it's also concerning is because I feel like when we see the budget for the new Lord of the Rings TV show, it's clear there's going to be a lot of true to the books sets and armor and lore. We're going to see a lot of that. It's probably going to set a standard given its budget. Not saying that money makes a good show, but it certainly makes it look appealing, and there are a lot more nods that are possible with that budget, where what I was seeing based off this armor, based off Henry, was something a bit more limiting for this show. And I get it, they don't want to go all in on a video game series adaptation or really a book adaptation, but the video games sort of are what propelled it to its popularity. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. I feel like this is a bad time for a show that has a medieval look to it to do something poor, because there will be an immediate substitute that does it probably very right. I don't think there's anything bad in Lord of the Rings, except for Shadow of War. That was very average, but outside of that, just, I love my Lord of the Rings. I love my Hobbit. When it comes to the Witcher Netflix series, what I'm really looking for out of anything is, as someone who hasn't read the books, I've seen good adaptations from books put into shows, put into movies, and that's what I'm really hoping for. And I think that's a very baseline expectation, of course. So allow me to go a little bit more into detail, because I look at it as Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 6, where I found that a very enjoyable show, so much so that I didn't really want to go and read the books because I felt that the show was doing justice to its source material. And so that's why I approach this with a bit of bitterness, I guess, because I'm like, oh my god, they're not doing The Witcher any justice. But at the same time, hopefully there's a story there that's told well, because if that is the case, then the Witcher Netflix series can be a standard for those who want to enter the series. That's what's really important about getting this right, is a lot of new fans. Of course, there's a lot of us existing fans. I've been a fan of The Witcher since The Witcher 2, who just want to see more Witcher. But there's also people who have never heard of The Witcher, and now what will happen is, let's say they get this series wrong, they don't do justice to it, they see The Witcher series, they're like, this is bad, man. And then you see The Witcher 4, which is probably coming in 2021, they're like, whatever. Or maybe they don't even try The Witcher 3, which is a fantastic open world RPG. It's just some worries that enter my head. I don't know how realistic they are, because I don't want to assume consumers are dumb where they can't tell the difference between a bad show and a really, really, really good game. But still, I think it warrants some concern, because at least if anything, they should try to do justice to the book in the terms of its story, and that's my major concern. But when you see a lack of care for things on set, props, armor, stuff like that, it sort of starts to branch out into different aspects of the show. So hopefully you guys don't think I'm overreacting here. However, maybe my concern isn't quite warranted, and the reason I say that is because of a little game that exists, granted it also came from CD Projekt Red, called Thronebreaker, which is a complete spin-off from the original Witcher games, which were more action open world RPGs, whereas this one was a card-based game which had a fantastic story, great characters, choice and consequence, depth in a genre you'd never expect. Highly recommended. But anyway, it just shows that The Witcher is no stranger to different challenges, and it has a lot of flexibility as a franchise. So maybe this series can end up good, but this armor, just a tad concerning. Anyway, don't want to get too far off track here. I just wanted to share this information because I thought it was important, honestly. I didn't want to make a whole video complaining about it, but it was kind of funny. On top of that, I just thought people should be talking about this, just like they were talking about Sonic. It doesn't do justice to a fantastic series. I don't know if Sonic's fantastic anymore, but regardless, I think there should be some change here, or at least some transparency maybe from the people working on the show that, hey, we are going to put CGI on this armor. And if that's the case, then by all means, and I'll see what happens when the show comes out. So that'll do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this Witcher 3, I keep saying Witcher 3. You know, I keep going to say Witcher 3. It just fires off the tongue. The Witcher Netflix series news update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Do fire away, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that as it fuels all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.